Alright, everybody, welcome back. We are moving into the finals right now. The game is about to be underway. It's going to be a best of 3. Let's get into it. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner from Team Killing Spree as our Teal Zerg player, we have Jig.
And his opponent in the lower right. Not on 8 team or team 8 or anything like that, guys. It is representing Complexity, the purple Zerg Hendulisk.
Whoa. Now, I know we both kind of called this final from the beginning. I mean, this is what we were both very, very excited for, and it's going to be a Zerg versus Zerg. And a lot of people have said, oh god, Zerg versus Zerg, it's not as interesting, but I actually am a big fan of the Zerg versus Zerg, all the different mind games that you can do when you want to transition out of roaches and get some Hydralisks, or if you want to throw some Infestors in there, if you still want to go for things like the Mutalisk play. I think it's just a really great match when it has to come down to what is my opponent doing and how do I best counter it.
Yeah, and a lot of this is scouting information. It's positioning, the concaves. Like, how many times have you seen this come down to Roach Wars where one player's down in upgrades, but he's at the superior concave, so he'll still take that fight? I mean, this is not as clean-cut as it once was.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, too. But, you know, with the introduction of those Spore Crawlers doing more damage to light and biological units, I should say, the Mutalisks, they just fallen off the map quite a bit. But we still see some players actually throw that in there.
Another really cool thing, too, for this matchup that I really enjoy is the Mutiling Bane. Or, sorry, whoa, that's my Terran habituary coming out here. The Ling Baneling phase here at the start can be absolutely nerve-wrackingly crazy. If you are Jig and your mindset is, look, I know Hendulisk plays a certain way, I'm going to go Roaches, and I'm going to bust them. And then suddenly, Hendulisk is at your base with like a 10 pool with gassed Banelings. Like, how are you prepared to deal with this? Usually, not at all.
No, that's definitely a very good point. And I mean, it's one of those things too where like mind games can come out for anybody. I mean, we watched earlier today, for those of you guys who did actually catch part of the Dream Hack, Ghost User versus Hyun, game number 3. Hyun won with just a very early game, like 10 pool. And it was just, it threw off Ghost User so much just because I guess he wasn't expecting to see that on the 3rd game of a best of 3 at, you know, the finals of WCG.
Oh.
It was just like one of those things.
That reminds me, by the way, so this is still a best of 3 for the finals, correct?
Yes, this is still a best of 3.
So guys, this isn't anything crazy. This is still the standard stuff they've been doing since God knows how long, 4 rounds ago. Lots more action for these best of 3s, and I you know, it adds a certain element. So many players, they play in the weekly cups or even the big tournaments. The finals are a best of 5, so you play a little fast, you play a little loose, and a little haphazard for your first couple games. You're only really afforded one game to make a mistake in a series like this.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I mean, if you can get up that one game, you can maybe do something a little bit more risky, but I mean, if you're down 0-1, you're basically just going to be playing your best no matter what happens.
And let's not forget, these players are playing for 100 toonies at this point.
50 toonies. No, you're right, it's 100. No, it's right. That's right. Ah.
Calix, don't do math on stream, man. Number 1 rule.
You did it.
No, I did it beforehand. I wrote it down, see.
Well, see, you can have your 100 toonies. I'd rather have 100 or 200 loonies. Damn it.
I like how you still struggled with that, even though we just went over what it was.
200 is obviously a lot more cooler than 100, so...
Yeah, but toonies have got 2 colors on them, man.
It's true.
They basically have a tiny loony inside them. I feel so bad for all the non-Canadians who are listening to us. They're like, what are these guys talking about? They must be higher on crack or something. We're, of course, referring to our awesome Canadian currency. I would highly recommend Googling it if you want to laugh, because it is legit.
Hold on,
believe it or not.
I want to show something out to the stream right now.
Are you going to put a loony on stream?
No, I don't actually have a loony, but what I do have is our $50 bill. And you
oh wait, our paper looks, our money looks like Monopoly money.
Holy crap, I have both a toonie and a loony. That's exactly what I want to say. I mean, there's nothing really happening quite yet, so I'm going to do this. Hold on, where am I?
Okay, go for it, man. Show Canada, or show non-Canadians how it's done.
This is our $1. It's a loony. It's got a loon on it. Why do you think it's called a loony? Because it's got the loon. This is our toonie.
I can confirm, by the way, nothing is still happening while he does this, guys.
This is our toonie. It's
our $2 coin
on it. That's why it's called a toonie, yes. So this one is double the value
2 animals,
of this one.
twice the money.
And then here we go. This is our $50 bill. It's red. It's red. It's like made of plastic.
And it's got like see-through bits in it, and it's resistant to fire.
This is like new Monopoly money.
All money should be resistant to fire. But now, while getting back into the game, now that Canadianisms are assigned, we do have Angels trying to deny the 3rd base here of Jig. doing a great job trying to zone out this worker, but of course the queen's here to defend, so not a problem whatsoever for Jig to throw this down.
Yeah, no, great little play. Now, that is actually something that's pretty interesting. Jig is actually going to be the one who's actually going to be going for the macro faster than that of Hendrils, because Hendrils hasn't thrown his down now until right this second. So small advantage.
I mean, the big thing too is the upgrades here for Hendrilisk are a little bit behind Jig, but not to the point where it's going to be even really relevant. This early in the game, Roach numbers when you games or when you fights more than anything else.
Yeah, that's
and look at
definitely a good
this.
point.
Oh, sick. Hendrix is actually starting this creep highway here. It's not going to be a full creep highway. It's not going to be 100 overlords across the map, but it's going to allow the roaches to get across the map that much quicker.
Yeah. This was really popularized by Idra back in Wings of Liberty. I remember that one game he actually made the creep highway for his Hydralisk, yeah. I want to say Hendrilisk right now because I'm so used to saying it, but the Hydralisk got to run right across the map, and they were able to do just tons of damage because they didn't take forever to move across because there wasn't that augments upgrade to make them move faster.
Now, he should be able to shut down this third base. He might have to sacrifice his roaches to do it, but this early in the game, that third base is critical.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. Okay, it looks like Hendrilisk is going to try to come up the right side here. The hatchery does finish up. There are quite a few drones
drone
as well.
transfer. Stops to pick off a creep tumor. I don't know if that was worth it. That 1 second could be a big deal. We'll have to see. Roaches on top of roaches now, though. Neither player with... actually, we got Jig with the +1 upgrades here. Going to be a little bit advantageous. Drones can be pulled if necessary, but instead trying to keep them alive, running around.
Ooh, this is actually great for Jig right now.
Oh, definitely. Jig is going to be chasing him off.
Oh, he's going to catch even more of them. Oh, he's trying to just run them into the wall because he has his own Glio Recon.
Sick transfuse goes down, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, this is a big loss here from Hendrilisk already. Jig has so many roaches. He's killed off quite a bit. We take a look at that loss tab right now. It's like 17 to 11. That could obviously be a couple
It's still 14 roaches to 16, though. Jig can't get too dedicated with this. If he goes too far into the base, he's going to suddenly find himself on the short end of that stick.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go around the left side of the map here, but there's enough now from Hendrilisk to push it back. Both players do have that +1 attack upgrade, so obviously Jig isn't going to be able to encounter the best, so he's just going to keep him sitting right here.
And Jig is re-embracing his special tactics heritage. Once again, Burrow coming out. And while Burrow in and of itself is not that big of a deal, it allows these roaches to heal. And if you're going to be fighting with roaches for a long time, full health roaches are a lot better than red health roaches.
That's definitely a very good point, guys. We want to thank you all so far for tuning in here because this is the WCG Canada final game here for this qualifier. So
well, not the final game, but the final series.
Final series, sorry, yes, of this qualifier. You're always there to pick me up when I do something wrong. I love that. I'm always like, ooh, that guy.
What's up,
so
mother
good.
brother?
What's up, mother brother?
Alright, Jig coming back home with his roaches. Hendrilisk has got some here. Might pick up a couple workers, but again, these 3 roach hit squads, they work best when your opponent's distracted. But he's actually using this as the distraction. That big chunk of purple was coming across the left side of the map, but it was scouted.
Yeah, by this one, I guess you could say late queen. Rest in peace. Rest in pool of blood, actually.
Well, a really big part of Hendrilisk pulling back there, he could have continued to try and push forward, but he didn't want to give away his roach numbers, and now we have him with a superior concave here at the top of the ramp. Not even a concave, just this ball of death. But Jig embracing the roach hit squads, going for the third, going for the natural, going for the main even with a lot of his own roaches.
Oh, something I want to throw out here that's actually really big. If Hendrilisk doesn't actually do some damage here pretty soon, the supplies of drones is 66 to 46 in favor of Jig.
Well, also, these roaches burrowed Kalex, so while it looked like troublesome, they actually lived to fight another day. Unburrowing, sniping off more workers here in the natural. Hendrilisk maybe thinks he's cleaned this up. There we go, the Overseers just finished morphing in. And this has got to be so irritating to deal with.
Yeah, good quick play there from Jig. After, as soon as it got hit, it was able to just pick right back up.
These are really cool special... He's still killing workers here in the main. Like, this is excellent play out of him. 13 workers have been picked up at this point. He snuck those 2 roaches way to the north. He can come back in once again. But, oh, the Overseers should scout these out. But will they? One of the roaches will go down. No, it's awkwardly standing there. There we go.
It's just standing there. It's fine. But he knows a lot of the Army 4 Hendrilisk is in his main base, and he's coming with a giant number of roaches.
And Jig sacrifices +2 weapons to have these many extra roaches on the field. His leading... Actually, he's not even leading. Hendrilisk has more roaches than him. Yeah. Oh, Talix, this could go very poorly.
Oh, I definitely think so. Look at that. He's going to become sandwiched a little bit here. I mean, he's going to pick up a few, but Hendrilisk just has so much right now.
Yeah, does retreat, go back home. I mean, he's going to lose a lot of these roaches. A big lead in his supply is workers, guys. It is 64-32. Make no mistake, that doesn't matter if you can't win the roach war.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. All right, here we go. Oh,
he's got a lot of low health roaches that he would love to burrow right now, but he just can't. Spreads out to try and get that concave. We'll see if that's going to be enough. The roach ball from Henschels gets here right in the center and is going to force in hard. Upgrades are 10 in-game seconds away, but I don't think he'll need them.
Yeah,
the defender's advantage is going to kick in here in just a second, though. We'll see if the reinforcements are going to be enough. Henschels, though, with so many roaches still remaining.
Let's take a look at that units tab right now. It is 24 roaches to 17, 16. And, I mean, with that defender's advantage, there's still more here for Hendrilisk. Wow.
Yeah, Jig, you know, he went for that sacrifice of the tech to try and get this. He had some really cool tactics, but in the end, despite having a burrow, I mean, he's healing up a lot of his roaches right now, actually, which is kind of cool. But in the end, man, Henry just able to overpower him with that fight. But this isn't over yet, folks. Let's not forget, it is 64 workers to 24. In the main, there was that roach unburrowed with 10 kills on it now. That one single roach was sniping off workers while this was going on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look, it's still there. Let's take a look at how many it's actually killed. 10. But I love that play, throwing the contamination down on the evolution chamber, so Jig couldn't keep his upgrades going. But there was nothing upgrading at the time, but still a good play from Hendrilisk. And it looks like there might finally be enough here from Jig to actually pull this back. Hendrilisk actually is at like 77 supply versus 92 of Jig.
Well, the big thing here is Jig now has his +2 finished up. I mean, I was talking about how it took a while to get here, but he finally has them. He's been burrowing like crazy to heal the roaches. Drones are perhaps being pulled a little too much, but he can still throw these away. Hendrilisk has not replaced his drones while this has been going on.
No,
and that's what's so dangerous about this.
He's at 25 versus 59.
Yeah, he's just economically behind, but he's still, this army can't be cracked just yet. Jig, though, making a ton of lings, but they have no metabolic boost, no speed. These are slow lings that are going to try and supplement the roaches, but it's just not enough. He needs roaches, not lings, to deal with this army.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously good cannon fodder, but if you're not doing the damage, then you're still not going to be able to kill them.
This is so strange. Hendrilisk, with this amazingly unkillable hit squad, is still powering through. Drones have been pulled once again to run away to the newly found 4th base of Jig. Hendrilisk will chase this down, but again, I need to stress this, Jig can't clean this up yet. You can't go in with lesser numbers. You have to be able to overwhelm your opponents.
Yeah, here we go. And even if he picks off a couple of these resupplies, that is so great for Hendrilisk. And there is Overseers here as well. It looks like this 4th base will actually fall.
Yeah, everything and anything at this point.
Well, I guess you might as well chase the drones, because you already have such a significant disadvantage in that area.
But yeah, it is 2-0 for Jig, 1-0 for Hendrilisk as far as the upgrades go, guys. And now he's finally going to get chased off. Hendrilisk still has made no drones behind this, and roaches are flooding towards the north.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily GG yet for Hendrilisk, but if I think Jig can hold this, we probably will see the GG out of Hendrilisk.
This singular roach, by the way, soloing the queen at the 3rd base. Now Hendrilisk is not even going to have those injects on his side.
Wow.
Just nothing is going right for him right now. Jig has perhaps caught him completely off guard.
Wow, yeah, Jig is just playing so well. Just 1 or 2 infestors here and there are just doing a world of difference against Hendrilisk right now. All right, here we go. There is a big army here for Jig, and there's the GG. And Jig actually takes game 1 here against Hendrilisk. Wow, that was just an amazing ZVZ, I'm not going to lie. I think the decision-making from Jig, just having small little armies of roaches here and there to actually pick off things, like lots of drones, pick out a queen here and there, is actually what ended up letting him win that game. And it was a great win. And he's got an APM of 269. I have no idea how you do that.
No, absolutely. It's crazy. But the big thing there, more so than the upgrades, I see people in chat talking about this, more so than the actual numbers, it was that burrow, man. He was able to hide his roaches time and time again. You would never be able to throw 17 roaches across the field to kill as many drones as one roach managed to do with burrow.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. Those burrows are just so good. You have to keep Overseers everywhere, and you can't really afford to do that because your eyes can't be everywhere when you have roaches trying to run around and try to kill your opponent. You have things pop out of nowhere, and you're just like, I can't deal with all of these roaches, and all my drones eventually died there for Hendrilisk.
One thing I do feel the need to remind people about, for those who don't know, Hendrilisk is friends with players like Scarlet and Sasquatch, some of the better Zerg players there are in existence. So whether he actually physically practices with them or gets tips from them, his ZVZ should be good enough to bring him back into the series. But man, Jig, if he can pull off something crazy like that one more time, he will secure himself in this qualifier slot.
Yeah, I completely agree. Guys, what we're going to do right now is jump into a quick little commercial break, and we're going to come back for game number 2. Potentially the last game, but I definitely think this is one of those series we will see go to game number 3. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we are already back. No second commercial because the game started really quickly, so let's get straight into it. It's going to be on Star Station. It's spawning down here in the bottom right hand corner. Let me just change these around. We have as our teal Zerg player from Team Killing Spree, Jig.
And his opponent in the upper left corner of the map, the expected, I guess, not underdog, overdog? I don't know how you want to phrase it.
I would say almost an overdog.
I was expecting Hengelis to take this 2-0, but Jig already upsetting my mind, blowing it with some cool tactics. But okay, that aside, proper introduction. Spawning in the top left corner of the map, representing complexity. He is your purple Canadian Zerg player, Hengelis.
Yeah, this is definitely a very top tier Zerg versus Zerg game. I think, you know what, maybe going to that first game, Hengelis is a player that's known on the world stage. He has some of the best friends in the world. I mean, some of the players and some of the best friends in the world. And, I mean, he's coming up here, he's like, okay, I'm playing against a guy named Jig. Yes, he's Grandmaster, but, you know, maybe he came into that game a little bit more confident than he needed to be. And for that reason, Jig was actually able to just make good decisions and actually take game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I quoted him as special tactics before, and I'll do it again. Jig is the man with the plan. As cheesy as that sounds to say, since the very first time I cast this guy, he's always had that special something to him. And whether he can actually win in a standard game or not, that's questionable, because we've never seen him play something standard. All day today, it's been weird strategies coming out of him and his opponents. I would really love to see Star Station be about as plain and boring and as standard as possible. Not because I want to give Hengelis a better chance, because I want Jig to prove he doesn't have to rely on these weird moves. Now, granted, these weird moves are really applause-worthy,
Yeah.
but I'd love to see how he handles himself in a straight-up regular situation.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we've seen that Jig, he is a force to be reckoned with. It doesn't seem to matter the game type, but we just haven't really had a chance to see him actually prove himself in that macro-type game. He's kind of like the player when you're playing chess. You're so used to seeing, you know, the king's pawn opening, and hopefully some of you guys will actually get this reference, or something like that. And then all of a sudden, Jay comes out of nowhere and moves the pawn in front of his rooks up first, and still somehow manages to win the game. And you're just like, how do I play against this awkward opening?
It can be rough, to say the least.
I hope people got that reference. My days of competitive chess are behind me now, but...
It was it Bobby Fischer or whatever, like that movie. Do you remember that movie, man?
Searching for Bobby Fischer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie. Or Deep Blue versus Gary Kasparov.
Well, my point is, like, whoever thought you could make a movie about chess, right?
That was one of my favorite movies growing up. I'm not gonna lie. I actually loved that movie.
Those stupid movies that you would watch now and scoff at were the greatest things.
Yeah, man. Lawrence Fishburne, not as Morpheus, but as a chess tutor for speed chess, was weird. I liked it. That had a lot of big names in it, actually. It also had Ben Kingsley. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Man, Ben Kingsley, ever since I saw Iron Man 3, dude, I can't even.
I haven't seen Iron Man 3 yet. Is he in it?
He is, you know what? I'm not going to say another thing. Just
All right.
watch Iron Man 3.
All that Iron Man 3. All right, guys. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in this game. Jig actually going for a baneling nest. This is the first time today I think he's actually made a baneling nest.
But I don't know that the timing of this nest really denotes that he's going to go for something aggressive. I think he's expecting an all-in from Hendrilisk, and I only say this because of the way that last game went and how quickly this game got started. But one thing I like about Hendrilisk, we see here he's actually using the baneling nest as part of his SimCity at the front. I feel the players have been lackingly doing this. They've been just throwing down the Roach War and the double evolution chambers, been happy with it, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're worried about Zergling aggression, you gotta have that up earlier than the evolution chambers and earlier than the Roach Warren. And we actually do have 8 Lings coming out here. So with speed, we're definitely gonna see Jig try and apply some pressure. How much is gonna be the big question. These next 2 injects will tell the tale.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. All right, a lot of Zerglings now streaming for Jig. They are getting the metabolic boost. It's approximately 10 seconds away from finishing up, but there is already metabolic boost on the field for Hendrilisk, plus the 1 spine crawler. Banelings are actually starting now to be morphed in.
For both players as well.
Yeah, both
Hendrilisk
players.
sees him with that Overlord and a nice scout. But Jig is looking to do some, like, he's gonna put some pepper, some pressure, however you want to phrase it, but like, he's droning up behind this. He's getting an evolution chamber. This isn't an all-in, and he just wants to force an overreaction more than anything else out of Hendrilisk, which he's already done. 14 Lings on the way.
Yeah, that is actually a lot of Lings that you've committed, just for seeing like 1 or 2 Banelings right now. But you know what? That's exactly what Jig wanted. So he has...
A sick Baneling connector for Hendrilisk.
Oh, I was gonna say, is Jig gonna be getting one as well?
No, certainly not. I love the control of Hendrilisk. If there's one thing I can always play him credit to, it's this micro more than anything else.
All right, yeah, look at this. There's a lot of Zerglings right now. We're at 11 Zerglings that are going to be trying to stream towards this natural base. It's sitting here at this kind of 4th base area. It's going to be coming up this ramp, and here it is at the front. Actually, there's this 3rd base kind of going down for Jig right now. That's probably going to get attacked and canceled. Actually, there's still quite a lot of Zerglings here for Jig. Never mind. Yeah, he's able to just run that away right now. The supply 55 to 52 in favor of Jig.
This is an insanely earlier 3rd base. Hendrilisk, he's going for the Spire, but I don't know if he'll be able to shut this down, because of course all you need is a couple of Spore Cannons, not even the Crawlers, to keep sick Baneling hit.
Yeah, that was really
yeah, you only
great.
need a couple Spore Crawlers to really shut down any sort of Mutalisks.
Wow, what a good save for that Baneling. Is Zerglings just swarming right past it and blocking off all the other Zerglings for Hendrilisk. So Hendrilisk is going to be going back home. A couple of Zerglings here for Jig. Looks like he is trying to get himself into a good position. He knows that Hendrilisk is still on 2 base, and he's also known that there's just been so many Zerglings that there is a possibility that that Spire's coming down. In fact, he thinks that right now by putting down some preemptive Spore Crawlers on that 3rd base.
He scouted that with that
did
Ling
he?
run by as well.
Oh, I didn't actually see him get that Ling run by. Oh, yeah,
So
there it is.
macro hatchery coming up behind this too. Lots of Zerglings and a handful of Mutalisks can cause way more damage than they should. The really accented nice thing about the Mutalisks, it's not about the damage they cause. You can go invest all in with the Mutalisk, sure, and that can work. But you primarily want them to snipe off the Banelings, to pick off the Roaches from afar. That way your Zerglings can just flood in unopposed.
Yeah, that's definitely the way that should be going. Oh, I'm just trying to look at this here. There's like Zerglings kind of going every which direction. Jig has put his down towards like the bottom left so he can get that watchtower. But this 3rd base, oh, look at that.
The whole position, yeah, he's trying to keep it alive. He knows he's coming.
Drones are cute, man. Drones are pretty cute.
Drones are not only cute but effective. Look at this. He actually hasn't lost one yet. I'm gonna just now lose one maybe.
No.
Nice hold. Meanwhile, he's trying to be aggressive on the other side of the field with his own Lings, dancing around a little bit, but Hendrilisk advancing forward, trying to protect his own 3rd base. The Mutalisks are on the field. What can he do with them, Talix?
Well, I mean, he can be pretty harassy. I mean, he's also going to be able to stop things like these Zerglings from trying to take out this one hatchery. So he's just going to be gaining the map presence. I guess that's the best way of saying it. He's going to be everywhere, and Jig is going to have to be pretty defensive.
Look outside the 3rd base of Jig, though. He doesn't have scouting information of this.
Oh.
He doesn't even need to bust the spores. If he gets to the mineral line, this could be deadly.
Heck, you can probably just take out the hatchery. The hatchery's not even at full health right now.
It's not enough Banelings to quite do that, but
You don't think so?
it gets low enough that the Mutalisk can finish it off if absolutely necessary. But I love this coming in from 2 angles. The drones actually have nowhere to retreat to. He does go for a spread behind the mineral lines, but pops up again at the end.
That was an amazing hit there for Hendrilisk. Let's take a look at that
13
worker.
workers.
Wow, that's 13. That's crazy. And the worker supply is actually only behind by 4 at this point. That's actually not that many.
No, especially considering Jig had this base up significantly earlier, but what we see here come out of Hendrilisk, guys, is going for the swarm hosts.
Oh.
Now, we saw this happen earlier today. We saw this happen in DreamHack. We saw this happen in WCG Canada. Swarm hosts, typically, you would think, oh, they ought to lose versus Roach Hydra. They tend to a lot, but Hendrilisk, if he keeps the Mutalisks alive, if he advances across the field with Spore Crawlers, Spine Crawlers, and handles this correctly, Swarm hosts are an excellent choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. We can see right now 3 are in production, but there is 10 Hydralisks in production right now for Jig.
And we got a sick amount of Banelings. Only 3 of them. And you might be like, what? This isn't more than 3. Why is this sick? This is literally just enough to kill the workers at this base and take out that Spine Crawler without dedicating any more gas than you need to. And when you're building Swarm hosts, you need all the gas in the world. And sick hits.
Yeah, another
22
5.
workers killed now.
Yeah, another 5 do go down here, but Jig has a pretty big army in the middle of the map. We can't count that out quite yet. He's got quite a few Roaches and the Hydralisks. They do have that +1 attack. +2 is very close to completion. In fact, Hendrilisk is only just starting his Zerg missile attack level 1.
Yeah, he has to play very defensively with these Swarm hosts. You never want to make too many, and you got to have something to go with them. And right now, he doesn't really have anything to go with them, so he has to stay at home. 2 more Banelings going to come in here and finish the job. Only actually get 2 more drones because there really wasn't anything left at the base at this point.
All right, here we go. There is a lot of Swarm hosts. Those Locusts are popping out right now. They do a lot of damage, and Jig is now aware that they are there. But the Banelings
are going to get sniped off by the Mutalisks. They actually connect here on the Swarm host because what else are you going to use them on?
Yeah, I think that was actually probably what they
the
needed
Locust
to do.
rather.
Yeah, the Locust.
But yeah, here's the problem. This is the immobility of the Swarm hosts of the Locust. The Roaches run right past them. They get to the main. The Mutalisk will eventually clean them up, but not before he loses all of his workers and probably the Queen. The Hydra slipping past this as well. There's no ground forces to support this just yet, and Hendrilisk is going pure Swarm host.
Yeah, that is a big commitment to Swarm hosts.
Now, the thing is, while he's losing the main, he's still got more drones than his opponent. He did so much damage to Jig with those Banelings. He can afford to take losses like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he loses the natural. The natural goes down completely. In fact, the infestation pit is going to fall as well.
Oh,
so
no, baby
close.
nuts!
Just barely falling.
This actually really sucks now for Hendrilisk. His production is halted, and he can't afford to really move across the field. He can try on burrowing the Swarm host, but of course, if you go across the field and suddenly there's 5 Roaches at home, you'll have nothing to defend against that.
Yeah, that's great. Look at this. He's even trying to move out in many different angles. He's got some Roaches that are trying to go towards that natural base, and he's going to try to lure the Mutalisks away, so there's other Roaches that can hit this 3rd base. He's just playing this really, really smart right now, where he's trying to place his units, but he is behind in supply right now.
I want to point out as well, it's 2-1 weapon upgrades for Jig to the 1-0 range of Hendrilisk. So even if Hendrilisk tried to swap out of this, if he decided to tech swap back to Roaches, it's just not a feasible option. He doesn't have the tech to support it.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. And look at this, he's just delaying mining at that 3rd base once again. More Roaches coming in towards his natural. Yeah, exactly. And there's 2 Roaches here doing a ton of damage.
Oh, the Lings are actually keeping the Locust back!
And they're also attacking the plates.
Yeah.
That was not what Hendrilisk needed to see right there.
No, and he's finding it very difficult to split these Locusts up to go where they need to. He's still losing drones behind the 3rd base right now. Hendrilisk is probably just saying like, man, I know I'm better than this. What happened? Because this is so much damage done by Jig.
And not only that, Jig actually managed to kill the hatchery at the natural. It wasn't cancelled.
Oh, now this is cute, and this is actually going to be really effective. We have Ventricle Sacs and Nubates Carapace on the way. This isn't Jig saying, hey, I'm going to be totally manner because I'm so far ahead. This is the best way to connect to the Swarm host. You curry your units over top of the Locusts, drop right on top of the Swarm host, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's a great way. Look how many Swarm hosts are here for Hendrilisk, though. If he can go and do a lot of damage with this, it could just be the end. However, if he loses these Swarm hosts or just doesn't get into an engagement that he needs, it could just be the end.
Well, Henry going to take the offensive here. Hendrilisk moving forward. He needs to cause some damage. Nothing at home really matters at this point if he can't cause some damage to Jig right now.
All right, look at that. The 4th base here at the top of the map is going to be denied once again by Jig. He is just going to try to send those Mutalisks home, but
the Locusts are moving into the 3rd. Jig's got units here, but you never want to defend against Locusts. You have to go offensive against Locusts when you're playing ZVZ. It's your movement speed that is your greatest asset. And there we go, circumventing the Locust, going to try and run around, but will run into another spawning wave.
Oh, does he have the Venture Stacks that bit? Not quite. He could just pick those right up and drop right on top.
But meanwhile, there are 5 Roaches at the 3rd base of Hendrilisk, his only really effective base at this point.
Wow, Jig has got a lot more drones right now at 68 over 54. There we go, another big Locust production.
But they're too far away. They actually can't cause damage to either of these bases. By the time they connect, the locusts start dying.
Oh, here we go. The big drop is going to happen. The overseers are moving towards those.
Does Angelus know this is coming? Now the swarm host should on Burrow and run away immediately. There we go. Gets that last swarm out. And the overlords will not be able to catch these guys. The mutalisks will start picking units off. Are there any hydralisks? No, it's mostly roaches. A couple of hydralisks.
There's some more roaches still taking out or doing damage at that third base. The top base is being remade right now. But wow, Jig is looking so good at this point.
And again, once more, we see the special tactics of Jig. Not that this is like, oh my god, no one else would do this, but really intelligent thinking, some great mechanics, going for that ventral sacks will allow him to connect eventually to the Swarm Host army. But more importantly, it's forcing Henchlisk back home.
Yeah, I mean, behind this, Hendrilisk is trying to find a way that he can start mining effectively. You take a look at that income tab, it is like 520 minerals, 300 gas versus almost 2,000 of Jig. So Jig is just looking so strong right now.
And look at this, beelining straight to the third base. Once again, going to focus the hatchery down. Not perhaps the wisest choice in the world, but he's got the overlords here. They are unloading, so they have to worry about the mutalisks.
Oh, that hatchery is gonna fall once again.
Oh,
and this base here at the top has got a lot of overseers full of units that he can be dropped on and kill that off.
You know, I like that Henchlisk has been trying to double expand this entire time, though. He knows none of his bases are entirely safe, just due to the way he's playing this out. He's finally getting those +2 weapons on the way. He doesn't have Carapace, but once the weapon upgrades are there, he's able to actually start swapping his tech out if he desires. Ooh, denies that fourth base here of Jig. Jig actually with nothing at home. Everything in these overlords across the field. These roaches from Henchlisk could actually completely end the game if Jig doesn't come home right now.
Yeah, it looks like he is sending himself back home. He's picking up... He's actually just dropping everything right now. But he's not moving back home. He's only got some of his army to pull back here. Well, I guess he's confident that he doesn't need his entire army to deny this. He knows he's still in a pretty good position, but there we go.
He's got the upgrade advantage. It's 1-0 versus 2-1.
Ooh, yeah, look at that. Hendrilisk. He's actually doing a lot of damage to this base. Is this actually the other way around? Is this game?
Well, I want to point out, Taylor, just so you're not confused there either, he didn't kill any of those drones. They were lifted up and evacuated by the overlords.
Yeah.
So he only lost the hatchery. Not that big of a deal. It's the same thing that's been happening to him. It sucks, but it doesn't take you out of the game. Keeping those drones alive is massive, because let's not forget, Henchel has killed so many drones earlier with those small baneling hits. Any more drones lost now would absolutely hurt Jig.
Yeah, that's a great point. We look here. Let's take a look at that units tab right now. There is 16 swarm hosts on the field, 31 roaches right now, 4 Hendrilisk as well as 4 mutalisks, but he's up against 42 roaches and 11 hydralisks. So, I mean, it all comes down to getting an amazing engagement.
Yeah, actually, it comes down to the fact as well that Hendrilisk on even workers has an entire base up on his opponent. In fact, 2 bases essentially up on his opponent. Jig's going to be mining out the natural anytime here in a second, and Hendrilisk is on his 3rd and 4th base.
Yeah, that's
great. Finally,
a lot of these swarm hosts.
Roaches are just going to keep moving forward. Hendrilisk's going to lose such a big, bulky part of his army. Goes for the burrow, an intelligent choice, but there might be just a little bit too much here. And let's not forget, in a worst-case scenario, Jig can pull a Terran. He can lift off and get out of here. All the overlords are here, but he doesn't need to. He's still going to just push right on through. Hendrilisk is taking huge losses as we speak.
Oh, this is actually really big for Jig right now. We can actually see the entire ground army of Hendrilisk is melting away, but he actually does force the retreat.
He's gonna fall back. He's gonna force him back. I can't believe it. So many of these swarm hosts are in the red. These roaches are in the red. Henry, by just a thread, holds on. But he's got the overlords loaded up, locked, and ready to go one more time. Hendrilisk with 4 awkward swarm hosts.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. They're just kind of standing there and sitting there. It's fine. There they go. Now they start moving out to burrow.
Excellent. You can start denying that base. There's just not enough here. This is so scary, but Jig also has not exactly got a lot of supply right now. These units coming out one at a time. They are going to get focused down by the Locust. He's not focusing the Swarm Host. The Roaches from Hendrilisk, deal with those +2 weapons. They are actually going to clean this up. He's going to pick up what he can, but not much gets picked up.
This game has been so back and forth in so many different levels right now. Jig just not getting that engagement he needed to right there. There was only a couple of swarm hosts left. He could have attacked and then just retreated, but he actually lost a large part of his army. The 4th base goes down. Yeah, the Locust.
Yeah, going to take out the 3rd one as well.
I think this might actually just be GG right now for Jig. He doesn't have anything mining, really.
Hendrilisk, what are you playing against Terran? He's dropping creep at the 4th base of Jig.
He doesn't want command centers to land, man. That kind of thing does happen once in a while.
How sick would that be if your creep could deny your opponent's creep? Like you've got some sort of biological bug in your... I don't know. It prevents your opponent from doing it.
Well, actually, I think Jig, he lost his Roach Warren. That's why he wasn't able to resupply with roaches. It's because it's been dead. He just had to rebuild it right now.
Oh man, that definitely hurts. We checked the upgrades right now. He is now on 2-2 over the 2-0. He's finding it very difficult to utilize these upgrades, but Hendrilisk, man, you know, he really should not have been able to get as far as he has so far with the Swarm Host, but this has been working out very nicely for him.
Another little hit squad here at the second base of Hendrilisk. Jig, it's just, when he wants to be harassy, he's really, really good at it. He kills a lot of stuff.
Taylor, so I want you to hit the G key as well, and look at the upgrade tab. I mean, look how different that is for Jig versus Hendrilisk.
Apparently, we do know that Jig likes his upgrades, but...
He likes Burrow. I actually really like that he likes Burrow.
Burrow's awesome.
Oh, he picks up the Hydralisk.
With like 1 HP left, it does get picked up. But the supply right now is 153 to 82 in favor of Hendrilisk. Let's take a look at that army supply tab. It's 121 to 36. Jig is basically just on his last kind of harass move, but I think this might actually just be over now.
Yeah, honestly, I called this out. I thought this was going to be a 2-0 sweep for Jig. I thought Hendrilisk, the second he made the choice to go Swarm Host, was going to be out. But he's going to show us, and he's going to show the folks at DreamHack, you can make Swarm Host work versus Zerg. And this isn't even like a mismatched game. This is Grandmaster versus Grandmaster, Canadian pride, and excellence being showed from both players.
Yeah, it looks like Jig doesn't want to give up. You know, he's doing that double expand back up again. But the Roaches here from
Roach
Hendrilisk
squad.
can kill off so much. Let's take a look at the Workers Kill tab. Another game where over 100 drones have been killed off.
Yeah, 69 and 53. Talk about ridiculous.
And that number is just continuously growing right now with those 4 or 5 Roaches actually just killing every drone of Jig.
You know, I want to point out, while this has been going on, 4 Hydros have been constantly drop, pick up here for Jig in the natural of Hendrilisk. They finally get cleaned up, but still some insane control. I got to tell you, I would love to see Jig try Terran one of these days.
Yeah. If you see that was a Thor, that'd be awesome.
Not even a Thor, but I mean, just like his ability to drop with Overlords that don't have a boost. Let me introduce you to the Medevac, my friend.
Yeah, the Medevacs are so good. Alright, well, it looks like Jig continues to hold on with that one base just for a little bit longer.
Supply, it's just too much in the favor of Hendrilisk at this point. I am cheering for Jig. I want some sort of magic to happen, but without... Yeah.
Instant GG. Well played happens, guys. And we will be going into game number 3. The series currently tied 1-1 here in this best-of-3 finals for today's WCG qualifier. Guys, we're going to be getting in as soon as possible. We are going to cut to a quick little commercial break. Don't go anywhere because we will be right back after this little break.
Beyond the game, beyond the game, beyond the game. At last, the moment's at hand. All we need is to believe the crowd. We'll make our stand. Beyond the game, beyond the game, beyond the game, beyond the game, beyond the game. The world's cyber game.
Alright guys, we are back. We are getting into game number 3, the final game here today of WCG Canada The series is currently tied 1-1, so let me make sure the scores reflect that before I forget. And this game gets underway, guys. Let's do this. Spawning down here in the bottom or top right-hand corner of Neoplanet S as our Teal Zerg player from Team Killing Spree, we have Jig.
And his opponent in the lower left, representing Team Complexity, it is Hendralisk.
Whoa.
Guys, this has been a pleasure and a blast casting for all of you so far. I am Rifkin. I've been casting today with Talix. I hope you guys have been enjoying our casting. WCG has put on an awesome event for us to cast, and I'm not even kidding when I say, like, it's been, what, 5 hours at this point? It doesn't even feel like it. It's been a ton of fun, and I want to thank everybody personally for tuning in and watching and hanging out with us here in the chat.
Yeah, it's been a great and I can't even talk anymore. It's been a pleasure casting for all of you guys out there, showing all your support and Canadian love down there in the chat, representing all your different cities or states, but not only that, your countries. Because not all of you are Canadian. Some of you guys are American. Some of you guys are from Europe or anywhere that you want to be. So thank you guys all for tuning in here to make this America. F yeah. They actually played that song on DreamHack when Ghost User beat Hyun in the second game.
Yeah, that was
so cool.
amazing. That was so perfectly timed. But DreamHack, you know what? I gotta tell you, first off, guys, this is how much I wanted to cast a Canadian event. We sacrificed our day of watching the finals for DreamHack so we could be here. That's not complaining. That's me trying to explain to you just how badly we wanted to help represent Canada. Talix and I, of course, are Canadian casters, casting Canadian events. Not something we're really going to get too many opportunities to do in the StarCraft world.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, Canada has been growing as a powerhouse here, not only for, you know, just the esports scene, but just the players that it produces. You get some of the top-ranked players in the world that come from Canada. Huck, a two-time MLG champion. You've got Scarlet, who came out of nowhere at IPL 4 and just started dominating and became, like, one of the best Canadians. In fact, won WCS Canada last year. And then not only that, but Canada representing at the WCG finals in China last year. Players like Complexity Fire Zerg, and you've got people like oh god, I just forgot his name. He's known for his bad manner.
I wasn't here last
Combat
year, so I
X,
can't help.
thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
That's the word. I was like, Combat X. I mean, we've got great players here in Canada, and it's great to see them all representing.
Well, Jig, I gotta tell you, man, the entire series thus far, first off, from the start of the day, I think every single person tuning in who knows Hendralisk knows how scary he is. And they're like, look, Hendralisk is going to take the finals 2-0 regardless of who he fights. Jig already having won that first game, tying this up, doing us the courtesy and the pleasure of allowing us to view an ace match. He's got some really cool tactics up his sleeve. Burrow in game 1, Overlord Ventral Sax in game 2. I cannot wait to see what he does here in game 3.
Nidus Worm. I'm calling it right now. That's the next awesome thing that we could probably see out of Jig. In fact, I hope that's what we see out of Jig.
You know, there are certain Nidus Worm strategies that aren't even all in, and they do work, Zerg versus Zerg. A lot of them involve very early Roach all-ins, though, so I don't know that I would necessarily want to see that, but it would be cool. Anything with the Nidus Worm, anything with a nuke, anything that makes the minimap ping for casters is always cool.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting, too, how Nidus Worm actually works. If you think of you're on an air map, you can actually have an air map where you can Nidus Worm across the air map. Where does that come from? They're on an island and they can get off the island.
Magic,
Magic,
Talix.
man. Zergs have magic, too. It's not all those Protoss players.
Magic and logic.
Well, they don't mix well together, unfortunately.
Well, actually, they mix perfectly together because you explain logic with the magic.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. All right.
Jig's actually chasing off Zerglings right now, but I want to look at this. Hendralisk already pulling his Overlord back. For some people, might be like, why is he doing this? Both the Overlords retreating early. It's because he can't risk losing them to Queens this early on. You don't want to spend 100 minerals, much less a larva, remaking an Overlord that gets picked off by being a walked-off creep.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point. All right, well, it looks like both players are just kind of playing pretty standard in the early game here. We got people like Jake, for instance, getting his Roach Warren, he's getting his +1 missile attacks, but you got people like Hendralisk right now. He's just getting actually a very, very early layer, and is just droning up completely. So, I don't think we're going to see it again, but do you think it's possible that Hendralisk wants to try to get onto Brood, sorry, not Stormhost again? I, mean,
I don't know.
It was in the last game, but I mean, he doesn't have anything really to defend right now.
You typically don't rush swarm hosts per se, but you make them reactive depending on what your opponent makes, which is why Handros gets so dedicated to trying to scout this main. If he sees like, oh, my opponent hasn't done this or done that, it opens me up to options. One of the options he says that he sees is Aspire.
Yeah, I definitely think that is exactly correct. Now, if you're Handros, do you think you're going to go mass Mutalisk, or do you think you're just going to have a couple in there to try to harass at this point?
You never want to go mass Mutalisk as Zerg versus Zerg. As we saw before, Spore Crawlers shut you down immediately, dead in your tracks. So you always want to get like that. There's a sweet number, like 8 or 12, like somewhere in that region. It allows you to clean up the overlords around the field, snipe off banelings, pick off workers without dedicating too much to it.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. Oh, look at these Zerglings actually denying this Spine
It
Crawler
can't
from being able
burrow.
to burrow.
That's so annoying.
That has got to be quite
There we
annoying.
go.
There you
Finally
go.
gets the burrow off.
And you'll actually get that third base up nice and early. There's still quite a lot of Zerglings
But-
here from Hendrilisk.
Yeah, with all the lings coming in, there's not enough roaches here. They'll get the surround off. These first 2 roaches will go down. The other roaches will hide between. Oh, I like this, limiting the surface area between the hatchery and that spine crawler.
Yeah, that's a great. I love when I see players do that. When you can utilize your buildings to not only deny the ability for Zerglings to spread around your units, like putting a Baneling nest, like we saw in the first game, next to the queen on the hatchery. Like, just limit the ability for Zerglings to be effective in Zerg versus Zerg.
It's the biggest difference, too, between those Zerglings killing 2 roaches and a spine crawler instead of chasing them off entirely.
All right. Actually, there is a 4 gas on right now at Hendrilisk is natural. A small little mistake there, but you know what? Jig gets in here. He sees that there's Mutalisks on the way. 6 Mutalisks are just about to pop out. Oh, that's going to be pretty good. But this third base, we see Spore Crawlers going down now.
Yeah, it only takes a couple to shut this down. Mutalisks will always find an angle of attack in which they can start harassing you with, but you want to limit how easily they can get access to your workers. 3 spine crawler or spore crawlers though kind of make it almost impossible. You can snipe off. You use the chain, the bounce damage off the extractors to kill drones, but that's what you're limited to.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. All right, here we go. A lot of Mutalisks moving in here. He's actually going to be able to pick off quite a few of these overlords. There goes
We'll get one.
Yeah, I guess it was pretty quick to move them out, but there we go. Some drones that might get picked off as
Running
well.
for their lives.
Run, little drone, run. There we go, Spore Crawler.
Help.
Oh, good way to make that Spore Crawler and keep that drone alive. Whoa, we did it twice. Jig,
Sick
man.
moves out of Jig. Now, I'm surprised Hendrils can start sniping off the Roach War and the Evolution Chamber, stop that +2 weapons from being completed, but he is just kind of idling with the Mutalisk for the time being. This is okay because he's focused on trying to get that third base up and running, but there we go. Now we have the active Mutalisk, but sadly, now the Spore Crawler has repositioned itself.
Yeah, it's going to put itself here towards more of the front of the base. I like that. It's keeping the Roach Warren and the Evolution Chamber a little bit more safe. Obviously, don't want to lose that to the Mutalisk bounce and just getting picked off because they have a nice little bit of a distance.
Well, the really key thing here, let's not forget Jig, not only with these weapon upgrades, he's getting the Hydralisk Den behind this. This is purely in reaction to the Mutalisk, of course, but a Roach Hydra is such a good, strong composition when it comes to Zerg versus Zerg. But Talix, once again, we're going to see those Swarm Hosts make an appearance on the field.
Yeah, and during Locust right now on the way, one Swarm Host is being made. I mean, this really worked out for Hendrilisk in the last game. It was kind of rocky at the beginning, but it became very effective in the end.
But also, check out the Spine Crawlers currently coming down here in the central location. He's anticipating Jig to attack from this angle so he can try and buy as much time as possible and create some safe spots for those Swarm Hosts. But if Jig comes from the north, like he's doing, these will do nothing.
Yeah, in fact, that 4th base has actually been started now from Hendrilisk, and that actually might just get denied because, I mean, there is Mutalisks on the field, but there's not a whole lot. And this is a pretty big number of Roaches to come in here and hit you some damage. Yeah, there it is. He sees that going down. He's going to target down the hatchery. Hatchery will have to be canceled here from Hendrilisk. He doesn't have anything to be able to
Oh
defend
my god, is it? There we go.
Yeah.
Getting very close. But meanwhile, the Roach Hit Squad coming to catch the Spine Crawlers unburrowed even. It will walk right past them. Into the mineral. He snipes that Queen immediately. Trying to get some of these drones. Oh, a nice Swarm Host pick off or two. But he sees this also gives away the attack path. He confirms, okay, Swarm Hosts are on the field. What am I going to do to combat this? And immediately, well, not even immediately, he already had the Ventrilo Stacks on the way. He already had the new Metes Carapace. He's ready to go for those drops once again.
Yep. We'll have to see whether or not his drops are going to be a little bit more effective in this game. They were not ineffective in the last game, or ineffective, but they just weren't as amazing as they had to be. Ineffective, guys. New word of the day.
Yeah, Canadians, we get to make up words. We make up and invent a lot of things. Like, well, your welcome world for basketball. Just throwing that out there. Canadian heritage moments.
Yeah.
God, do you remember watching those growing up?
Telephone, guys, you're welcome.
Man, those Heritage commercials were like the best / worst.
Why don't you put a hole in the bottom of the thingy?
The peach basket.
The peach basket, thank you.
But oh man, look, all the overlords out in the field. Hengilus knows, okay, my opponent's going to drop me once again. I thought this was a really cool, really interesting tactic coming out of Jig, but he could not make this work last time. And the biggest reason is because when you drop units out, they come out one at a time instead of all at once. So that allows the Swarm Host and the Locusts and the Roaches on the ground to focus fire those units as they come out piecemeal. It's kind of like watching a Terran reinforce from his barracks. What can you do other than just slaughter them whole?
I like this play here from Jig. Okay, he's actually going to be splitting up part of his army, which is, I think, what he needs to do. All right, there we go. So Mutila's actually picking up a lot of those Overseers. The Overseers are going to have... I'm sorry, the Overlords are going to have to drop.
Sniped off.
Yeah, it doesn't really get a chance to drop anything. But these Overlords here are full of Hydralisks.
There's too many Spine Crawlers. There's too many Swarm Hosts. He's got to unload on the main. Is the only safe spot to eject.
He's got to do it soon, because he's losing a lot of these Overlords right now.
Yeah, they're full of units. Another 4 Roaches go down. You hear them
What
scream
is
with the
happening
Overlord.
right now, Jig? Drop your army.
He was beelining it, and I understand why. He wanted to get to the mineral line and cause as much damage as possible, get away from the Swarm Host, away from the Locust, but the amount of Hydralisks that came out of this were just not enough. Drones are being pulled. Locusts are spawning. These Hydralisks will do nothing, Talix.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're the third base under assault at the exact same time. Jig gonna focus this down, focus fire, try and pick this off to the best of his capability, but look how many Overlords he's losing. He's actually gonna get supply blocked at this rate, and he doesn't have much supply on the field, which says just how much he needs those Overlords.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to pick off that third base, but at the same time, you lose a lot, not only just in Overlords, but your army composition as well. The supply is so low right now for Jig, and Hendrils can actually just move across the field and do so much damage. I don't even know if Jig can hold something like that.
Honestly, he can't. If he had Spore Crawlers down like Henry does, he could hold this no problem. Even with those Locusts, it buys him the time he needs to reinforce behind this. But at this stage of the game, because of how low in supply Jig is, he's going to lose his third base. Henry's going to lose almost nothing for it and continue on to the natural.
Yeah, I completely agree. Hendrilisk is just looking so powerful right now. There's no answer here from Jake. He's not going to be able to hit any of these extra expansions. Behind this, he's trying to take this base up here. He's trying to, limit
Every
the amount.
single drone. Oh, one! One gets away! Run! Tell your friends
drone.
about the danger that is coming.
Welcome to the danger zone.
But now supply blocked again. More Overlords being sniped off. This third base about to fall.
And there it goes. That's so many Locusts right now. If you take a look at the units tab, there's 23 Swarm Hosts on this field.
Talix, you want to do math, or should I tell you it's 46 Locusts?
That is so many Locusts. I would have done
Like
that,
it's
but I don't
50
want to.
loonies.
Oh god, this is just, it's just not very good for Jig. I mean, he did make the space at the top right, but he lost a lot of those drones. There is
He's
4
gonna lose
Roaches here.
space.
Yeah, he's just going to lose this as well. It looks
He's going for the base trade.
Yeah.
Intelligent choice, or an intelligent choice, I should say, but he's not going to be able to do it. There's too many Spine Crawlers here. Angelus made, oh my god, 12 Spine Crawlers while this was going on.
That's a great idea, to be honest. I mean, it's denying so much right now, and they're doing tons of damage.
Well, both players are going to race this out. Hendrils actually has nothing at home because he's maxed out. He also can't make anything at home. He's forced to pull the Roaches back from the front lines. This will slow him down a bit. Locusts do a ton of damage, but the Swarm of Scorps, with their spawning mechanics, the way they move, they're very slow. They're very immobile. Hendrils, though, should clean this up.
Yeah, Hendrilisk still at 196 supply to the 69 supply right now of Jig. He did manage to take out the third base and the natural base, so the resupply for Hendrilisk isn't going to be there, but it's also not going to be there for Jig as this natural base does fall. And the fourth base was dead, and the third base is dead. There's the GG. And Hendrilisk takes today's WCG Canada Qualifier 2-1 against Killing Spree's Jig.
Not to speak ill of Jig, though, guys. Implementing some really cool tactics, some great mechanics, and amazing map control in all of these games. But I mean, Henry, man, when it comes down to it, Hendrilisk is just, well, you got Zerg practice partners like he does, you should not lose ZBZ.
Yeah, that was amazing play, and thank you guys all for tuning in here today. Please support WCG Canada and all that they have done for us. You can follow them on Twitter at WCGCA. And of course, you guys, thank you today to all of our sponsors. We have G4Box, Absolute, Twitch, we've got MSI, we have Wargaming.net, and not only that, but thank you to all the different LAN centers across Canada that held the qualifiers here today. This is just the first qualifier. There will be another online qualifier here. Not exactly sure when, but I'm sure it will be posted. If you guys also enjoyed your casting here today, you guys can follow us on Twitter. My handsome co-caster is Rifkin, and Rifkin, tell him a little bit about what you do.
Hi guys, I cast, I own, and I run Base Trade TV, a really popular up-and-coming Twitch channel for StarCraft 2. I hope you guys will check us out. We do a lot of content on a regular basis, but the biggest thing, of course, is our Survivor event we currently have running. But today has been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you those who retweeted about the event. Thank you to those who upvoted the Reddit thread, who helped share this around. I kind of made those at the last second because I thought maybe the WCG guys would, but it's great that you helped spread the word nonetheless. At the end of the day, we had 500 of you. We peaked at, I think, 700 hanging out with us, watching Canada, some great Canadians duking it out. I will toss this off to Talix. He'll probably lead us into outros, but the last thing I'd like to comment on, to direct you guys, if you will, I don't want to take anything away from WCG, but since we're done with the broadcast, please, please, please go check out the SCA trials. There's no event for it on Team Liquid. People don't know this is coming on. I'm going to link this in chat one time so I don't take away from WCG. But one of our casters for Base Rate TV is casting that event right now. It's got players like Polt, Puck, a lot of high quality, Jim Rising, Jazzbaz, King Kong, Pig, etc. So please, guys, go check that out. Give them some love. Tell them WCG sent you while you're there.
Yeah, I would appreciate all of the different views that they will be getting today. Also, guys, if you liked my casting today, you guys can follow me at NostalgiaTalix. I am a Canadian caster just like Rifkin. I live in the city of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And tomorrow I will be casting the Copa America Latin Finals English stream with the RG, so I will be casting for Blizzard. So if you guys are interested in seeing who the best Latin America player for Season 1 is at the Copa America, remember to check that out. You guys can follow me on Twitter at NostalgiaTalix, as well as my own Twitch stream, where I do stream at twitch.tv/NostalgiaTalix. Much love to all you guys there. We're going to play a couple of commercials to go out today.
Well, give me 1 sec before you do the commercials. Guys, Master Dog said it best. WCG raid, go, go, go. Go to the Metagame Gods channel. Tell them WCG sent you. Spread the word and have some fun. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a great one, guys. Love y'all. And A.